Let me ask you a question that could change your life forever. What if God is calling you, and you're ignoring Him without even knowing it? What if the very tug you've been feeling in your heart isn't just emotion, but a divine assignment? So many believers are sitting on a calling from heaven, not because they're disqualified, but because they're distracted, afraid, or unaware. Today, I want to speak to your spirit. Because if God is calling you into ministry, the worst thing you can do is delay. Let me say this clearly. Ministry is not just for pastors. Ministry is not just a microphone on a Sunday morning. Ministry is a life laid down, a surrendered vessel used by God to impact the world. Whether you're called to preach, teach, write, serve, lead worship, plant churches, or reach your neighborhood, you have a role in the kingdom. And today, I want to give you 3 biblical, powerful signs that God may be calling you into ministry. These signs aren't always loud. They're not always dramatic. But if you've experienced them, you need to pay attention. Let's go deep. Sign number 1. A holy restlessness. You can't explain it starts quietly. At first, you think it's just dissatisfaction. You're doing what you've always done. But something in your soul says, there has to be more than this. You go to work. You go to church. But it feels like something is missing. Like your spirit is itching to move, to grow, to be poured out. That's not frustration. That's not boredom. That's divine discontent. God often begins a calling with a holy restlessness, a stirring deep within your spirit that refuses to be silent. Jeremiah felt it. In Jeremiah 29 he said, "His word is in my heart like a fire shut up in my bones. I am weary of holding it in. Indeed I cannot." When God marks you for ministry, His word becomes a fire in your bones. You try to live a normal life, but the fire won't let you. You were made to do something eternal. You can't ignore this forever. That restlessness won't go away until you surrender. Sign number 2. A burden for people. You can't shake off. Ministry is born not out of ambition, but out of burden. When God calls you, He doesn't just give you passion, He gives you pain. A holy burden, a weight for souls. A deep ache for the broken, the lost, the confused, the hurting. Moses had this when he saw his people being oppressed. Nehemiah had this when he heard that the walls of Jerusalem were broken. Jesus had this when he saw the multitudes and was moved with compassion. Matthew 9:36 says, "When he saw the crowds, he had compassion on them, because they were harassed and helpless, like sheep without a shepherd." A true ministry calling comes when you stop seeing people as problems and start seeing them as assignments. Have you ever wept over a soul? Do you feel spiritually responsible for people who don't even know your name? Do you lie awake thinking about how to reach them? That's not coincidence. That's calling. Sign number 3. Unusual opposition or spiritual attack. This one may surprise you. When you carry a calling, you attract warfare. Before Jesus began His public ministry, He was led into the wilderness to be tested, tempted, and attacked. Why? Because the enemy always fights potential. When God calls you, the enemy tries to discourage you before you ever start. He'll whisper, "You're not qualified. You're not good enough. You don't know the Bible well enough. Who do you think you are?" But let me tell you what 1 Corinthians 1:27 says. God chose the foolish things of the world to shame the wise. God chose the weak things of the world to shame the strong. If you feel under attack, unworthy, overwhelmed, it may be because hell sees what heaven has spoken over you. And it's time for you to believe it too. You may say, "But I don't feel ready." Newsflash, no one ever feels ready. Moses said, "I can't speak." Jeremiah said, "I'm too young." Isaiah said, "I'm unclean." Gideon said, "I'm the weakest in my family." And God called every single one of them. Why? Because God doesn't call the qualified. He qualifies the called. Now listen closely. If you've experienced these 3 signs, a holy restlessness you can't explain, a deep burden for people, and unusual opposition from the enemy, it's very possible God is calling you into ministry, and you can't afford to ignore that calling. Here's what you need to do. 1. Surrender fully. Stop waiting to feel ready. God is not looking for perfection. He's looking for yes. Isaiah 6:8. "Here I am. Send me." That's all He needs. 2. Prepare diligently. Start learning. Get in the Word. Pray consistently. Fast. Study. Surround yourself with mentors and spiritual leaders. David was anointed before he was appointed. There is a season of preparation before promotion. 3. Obey immediately. Delayed obedience is disobedience. If God tells you to serve, serve. If He tells you to share your testimony, do it. He won't give you the full picture until you take the first step. Faith moves first. Now hear this. You don't need a stage to start ministry. You don't need a microphone. You don't need a platform. You need obedience. Ministry starts where you are, with what you have. Jesus didn't say, go build a church. He said, go and make disciples. That begins at your job, your school, your home, your social media, your neighborhood. Your calling may not look like someone else's, but if the Holy Spirit is stirring your heart, you already know this message is for you. You've been running long enough. You've been waiting for permission, but God already gave it. You've been asking for a sign. This is your sign. The kingdom is waiting. Souls are waiting. And God is calling. Will you answer? You may feel inadequate, but God says, my grace is sufficient. You may feel unprepared, but God says, I will be with your mouth and teach you what to say. You may feel unseen, but God sees you, and He called you by name before you were born. Jeremiah 1:5. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. You are not random. You are not disqualified. You are chosen. Chosen for a purpose. Chosen for impact. Chosen to carry the gospel to your generation. So rise up. Answer the call. Say, yes, Lord, here I am. Because when you surrender to God's call, He will do more with your life than you could ever imagine. The world needs your obedience. Heaven is cheering you on, and God is waiting on your response. Say yes. Now is your time. If something in this message hit your spirit, don't ignore it. Subscribe now and turn on the bell so you never miss a word that confirms what God is doing in your life. Drop a comment below. Do you feel called into ministry? What's the biggest thing holding you back? Let's encourage each other. I'd love to hear your story and pray with you. If this video helped you, like it. It helps YouTube spread the message to more people who need this word today. And don't stop here. Watch this next. 7. Open doors to demonic attack and how to close them. Because once you say yes to the call, the enemy often tries to fight back. Be prepared. Remember, God doesn't call the perfect. He calls the willing. So if you're willing, your time is now.